Alright, so in today's video, I'm going to be sharing why your knees hurt. And this is a question we get asked often when people come in to the posture alignment programs that we do, is why do my knees hurt? And there's actually 6 postural deviations that I'll be talking about today on why your knees could be hurting and some of the muscle imbalances that are going on that could be causing that issue. So I'm Cade, I'm the owner of Cade, where we've been empowering people to move beyond their limitations as a complete human. And so with that, we do the postural alignment work to help balance out the body so that pain goes away. We're not treating pain, we're treating the posture and what the body's doing. And when the body returns back to balance, moving the way it's designed, pain goes away. So I'm going to test this out today, sharing some of these things I drew on the flip chart. I've not done this before, so at the end of it, leave a comment below or now, and let me know if I should use pictures like this again, if it was helpful, or find a better option. So thank you in advance, and we're just going to dive right in. So when it comes to knee pain, first off, when we look at posture and how pain is moving, it's rarely the site of the pain is rarely the source of the pain. And so typically when it comes to knee pain, there's hip imbalances and or ankle imbalances. And not only that, is I've seen people's shoulders back position actually causing challenges in the knees because the upper body is not doing its job either. So it's not as simple of an answer, so I'm going to dive into these. You can check for yourself, so I'd recommend standing in front of a mirror, nice and relaxed, and see what your body's doing if you have knee pain. But first off, there's a couple categories. 2 key things for each category. So the first one is from the side that you want to check out. In this guy, he's happy. He has ideal posture if I could draw perfectly straight lines, and he looked more like a person. So the hips, shoulders, knees, and everything is straight, stacked over top of each other. One of the first issues that we come into, not first, but one of the common ones we see is actually where the knees hyperextend. They actually go back behind the hips. In that case, what's typically happening is that the quads are doing too much work and the hip flexors aren't doing their job. And at the end of the day, the hip flexors not doing their job is kind of the key thing for all of these. And the hip flexors can be short and tight, or they can be weak and not working. This tends to be they're weak and overly lengthened. When you get those hip flexors working, the knees straighten out and the body feels better. The alternative is that is when the knees get tight and the hip flexor short, it tends to pull the knee forward, and so that the body, the person, and you can't see me, but the knees kind of stay bent forward. So one is hyperextended knees, the other is knees stay flexed. Both issues would be treated differently when it comes to posture, and this is one of the challenges with kind of cookie cutter approaches is like, oh, you have knee pain, you need to strengthen X, Y, Z. It's not as simple. It's what is your body specifically doing and how do we address it? The second key things are knee position straight down. In an ideal posture, the knees point straight ahead and are a straight line down, okay? One of the things we see is what's called valgus. That's where if you look at somebody and their knees kind of cave in, that's gonna be valgus stress. What's typically going on that is the inner thighs are overworking, the outer hip is not doing their job, so like glute medius, TFL, those muscles that pull the leg out aren't doing their job and causing the knees to cave in. The other thing is that when the hip flexors are doing their job, it's easier for those muscles to work. So I've had clients that I've worked with trying to get the outer hip working, but without the hip flexor, and the knees never straighten out until we get the hip flexor working in conjunction with strengthening the outer hip. We got the opposite one over here, which is going to be what's called Varus, where the knees actually bow out. And so someone who's bow-legged, which is Varus, is going to have that stress. And the pain's going to be different places for each one of these. Typically for here, it's going to be kind of the outside where they kind of press in and grind, and or inside of the knee, same thing here, or the opposite of that there. So a couple things going on there. We got valgus, varus. This tends to be the outer hip is overworking. Without proper hip flexion, being able to pull straight up into that 90 and realize I'm doing things that I'm demonstrating and you can't see on camera because I'm too close. But I think you get the idea. The other thing, the final thing is internal or external rotation. When the body's in ideal posture, the knees point straight ahead. So if you look at your kneecaps and they don't point straight, you have some sort of rotation going on. And so when the knees go out, typically it means tight hip flexors. The external rotators are working too hard, and the hip flexors, which pull into external rotation, are probably tight as well. The other opposite of that is internal rotation, where they point inward, and that's typically when the hip flexors aren't doing their job at all and other muscles are taking over. So those are like the 6 key things. This is going to be creating torque at the knee. This is going to be causing inward pressure at the sides of the knee. And this is, front or back of the knee. So we've got a couple different aspects going on. And because posture is dynamic, you typically don't have just one of these. It's going to be a combination. So pretty common is bow-legged with internal rotation. It can be external, but usually you get a combination of that. Or it's valgus with external rotation, so knees caving in, but the knees point out. So it's usually a combination of the two. Same thing with the hyperextended or flexed, and you can actually have a combination of all 3. So there's one client I'm thinking of just top of the head. She has hyperextended knees, valgus stress, and external rotation. So we have to address all different aspects in the right way to get the knees functioning right. And so that's kind of how we look at the body, is what's going on in all directions, and how do we get it working the way it's supposed to and balance out those muscles again. And when you do that, the body's going to be able to heal itself, and you're going to be able to get out of pain and return to what the activities you love doing. If you'd like to know specifically, and you're looking in the mirror and you're like, I have no idea what I'm looking at, go to cadefit.com/posture, and we'd be happy to set you up with a free posture analysis. We'd look at your body, see what's going on, and give you probably 3 to 4 exercises to show you how to very quickly create changes. If you learned something in this video about your knees, please comment down below and share with a friend that has knee pain. All right, thank you for watching.